Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about different operations that you can do with fractions, such as multiplying, dividing, adding, and subtracting them. So, let me start by explaining how to multiply fractions. The first step is going to be to convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction. Here, you can see that we have 1 and 2/3, which is being converted to 5/3. So this will usually be done for you in the problem. You won't usually have to worry about this, but it's still good to know. Secondly, you're going to combine your two fractions into one. So you can see here, I have 5/3 times 2/5, and I push them together. So you can see that it's tops or numerators that are multiplying, and bottoms or denominators that are multiplying as well. And now for the third step, I do the actual multiplication operation itself. So 5 times 2 is 10, 3 times 5 is 15, and you can see I have 10 on the top and 15 on the bottom. Now, finally, I want to simplify this, so that's going to give me 10 over 15, which simplifies to 2 over 3. Now, moving on to how to divide fractions. It's essentially the same thing as how to multiply them, but what you're going to do is flip the second fraction. So rather than have 31/5 divided by 6/2, we're going to flip it, right? We take the reciprocal of it, which is 2/6, and we're going to multiply that by 31/5. And otherwise, you can see the operations are identical to that of multiplication. Okay, so let's get into solving some problems. So, to start us off with an example, here we have 5/3 times 2 and 7/16. So, we're going to start by converting that mixed fraction that we see on the right to an improper fraction. So, that's going to leave me with 2 and 7/16 is equal to 2 plus 7/16, which is basically going to be 32/16 plus 7/16, right? Because I need to multiply it by 16 in order to be able to add these fractions, and that's going to give me 39/16. So for step 1, I find that I have 5/3 times 39/16. So the next step is going to be to combine the fractions. So that's going to leave me with 5 times 39 divided by 3 times 16. Now for step 3, I want to actually multiply the numbers. So 5 times 39 is going to be 195 divided by 48. And for step 4, the key here is that there's not always going to be a simplification that you can take, right? So you want to consider different factors that you might have between them. So if ever you have a big number, like let's say 195 and 48, well, you can always start pulling out a calculator and checking the different factors, right? In this case, 3 works. It's a factor of both of them. So that's going to leave me with 65/16. And because 65 is not divisible by any of the factors of 16, we leave this as our answer. All right, so for example 2, we have -1/2 times 8/3. So to start, we want to convert all mixed fractions to improper fractions. Well, here you can see -1/2 and 8/3 are already improper fractions, so we don't have to worry about that. Now we want to combine the fractions. So I can put that negative up top, which is going to give me -1 times 8 divided by 2 times 3. Now to actually multiply the numbers together, -1 times 8 is going to be -8, and 2 times 3 is going to be 6. So finally, I want to simplify this, right? Which is going to mean 8 and 6 can both be divided by 2. So I get -4/3 as the final answer here. All right, so now for a division example. Here we have 3/7 divided by 6/5. So to start, we want to convert a mixed fraction to an improper one. Well, here you can see that we are already working in improper fractions. So there's not really much that we can do there. Now we want to actually flip the second fraction, and remember that the division sign gets replaced with a multiplication sign. So that's going to give me, for step 2, 3 over 7 times 5 over 6. Okay, and from here, we want to follow all the other multiplication steps. So we start with 3 over 7 times 5 over 6, and we basically push the fractions together, right? So that gives me 3 times 5 over 7 times 6, which is going to give me, once I multiply them, 15 over 42. So notice how both of them are divisible by 3. So in this case, that's going to give me 5 divided by 14. And there's nothing more that I can do to simplify that, so I leave that as my answer. Alright, so I wanted to give you the chance to test your understanding with the following 2 practice problems. So go ahead and try to combine them into one fraction, and come back here when you're ready. Okay, so to start with the red one, the one on the left, we are going to start by converting mixed to improper. We don't have to worry about that. So the next step is just going to be to push them together, right? So that's going to give me a negative 2 times 4 divided by 3 times 5. Okay, well, to do the actual multiplication, negative 2 times 4 is negative 8 divided by 3 times 5, which is 15. And that is as simplified as I can get that. So I'm just going to leave it as negative 8 over 15. All right, and so for the example on the right, the yellow one, as you can see, we are in improper fraction mode, which means that we don't have to worry about converting mixed. So the first thing that we're going to do is flip the fraction on the right. That's going to give me negative 2 over 3 times 5 over 4. Okay, and from here, it's just multiplication, right? So that's negative 2 times 5 over 3 times 4, which is going to give me negative 10 divided by 12. And we can take it to simplify, which is going to give me negative 5 over 6 as my final answer. Okay, so now that we've gone over multiplying and dividing fractions, we can better understand adding and subtracting fractions. So the first step is going to be to make the denominators equivalent. And an important hint here is to find the lowest common multiple of the two denominators. So here we start with 2 over 3 plus 3 over 4, right? That's what we're starting with. So to get the denominators, these numbers right here, to be equivalent, we need to multiply by 3 over 3 on the right and 4 over 4 on the left, right? The reason being, in both cases, 3 times 4 is going to equal 12, which is what we get down here. So when we multiply our fractions, well, this is a step that you've already done, right? You know how to do that from multiplying fractions. We ultimately get 8 over 12 plus 9 over 12. And from here, we want to add our numerators together and simplify the expression. So 8 over 12 plus 9 over 12 becomes 8 plus 9 over 12, which is just 17 over 12. So let's start with this example that's on the right here. 2 over 5 plus 3 over 4. Well, we want to multiply by the lowest common multiple, right? That's what we want to get in our denominator. So 2 over 5 is going to be multiplied by 4 over 4. And 3 over 4 is going to be multiplied by 5 over 5. Okay? Another important observation that you might have made so far is that these two numbers always come from the denominators. And that's not always going to be the case, but you can always do that in math, right? You might just have to do a bit more canceling later on. So that's going to leave me with 4 times 2 over 4 times 5, or 8 over 20, plus 15 over 20. So from here, and I'll write that that's step 1, This is step 2. We're going to add our numerators and simplify. So 8 plus 15 divided by 20 is 23 divided by 20. And so I get that as my final answer for adding 2 over 5 plus 3 over 4. Alright, so following up with the next example, here we have negative 5 over 8 minus 7 over 4. So what we're going to do is find the lowest common multiple of these numbers. So the lowest common multiple of 4 and 8 is actually 8, which makes our job really easy, doesn't it? So we just have to multiply the fraction on the right by 2 over 2. And that's going to give me negative 5 over 8 minus, and then remember that we push the fractions together when we multiply them. So that's going to be 14 over 8. And because now we have the same denominators, we can combine these two fractions, which gives me negative 5 minus 14 divided by 8, or negative 19 over 8 as my final answer. Okay, so we'll go through the following two examples now. So I'll get you to go ahead and pause the video, try them on your own, and come back here when you're all ready. Okay, so to start with the example on the left, we're going to get negative 3 over 4 plus 7 over 6. So what we can do here is look for the lowest common multiple, right? So the lowest common multiple of 4 and 6 is going to be 12. So that's going to equal negative 3 over 4, and we're going to multiply that by 3 over 3, plus 7 over 6, and multiply that by 2 over 2. So that's going to give me negative 9 over 12 plus 14 over 12. And once I push those fractions together, remember that I'm adding my numerators, I don't touch the denominators. That gives me 5 over 12 as my final answer there. So, proceeding to the example on the right, the first thing that we're going to do is just combine our numerators and combine our denominators, right? Pushing it together. So that's going to give me 18 times 20 divided by 5 times 3. Now, before we proceed, we can do some simplification. So 18 divided by 3 is 6, right? So we can cancel those out, then write a 6 there. Also, 20 divided by 5 is going to be 4. So we can cancel that out there, which is going to give me 6 times 4 divided by 1, or 24 as my final answer. Now, this example was to showcase that sometimes when you multiply fractions, you do actually get a whole number response. Okay, so that's everything for the basics of operations with fractions. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you have a nice day.